Hello, Folkers. I'm Copper Kelly.
And I'm Jodie Lucas, and you're welcome to the Folkin Around podcast.
It's your country music podcast where we chat all things country. On this first episode, we'll be having an interview with Chantelle Padden. Tell us about the interview. What did we actually talk about, Joe?
So, we caught up with the amazing Chantelle Padden, who a lot of you'll know from the Irish country scene, and she's currently starring on The Voice UK. So we're very excited to see that. We cover lots of different things to do with The Voice, lots of backstage gossip, things to do with her journey up to there. We talk about her childhood, her life, how she got into music, some fun things about makeup and fashion. So a little bit in there for everyone. I think you'll all enjoy it.
Yeah. And the thing is, this interview went on for a good length of time. We had a great chat. It was great banter between the three of us. So we've actually decided to split this episode into two parts. So it's easier to digest. So this will be part one, and then part two will be coming very shortly, next few days, hopefully. But for now, let us dive into the episode, and then we'll come back at the end of the episode and talk to you a little bit more.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us, Chantelle.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, we're really, really excited. And it's such an honour to have you as our first episode guest.
It's
really exciting.
Brilliant. It is. This is actually my first ever podcast. So thank you so much for, what was it that we said earlier? Popping the podcast cherry.
That's it. Do you listen to podcasts? Are you into podcasts anyway?
I have been listening to a lot lately on like Spotify and stuff. And they're really good. I've never had a chance to get to do one. So this is brilliant how you've brought me on. I'm delighted.
We're delighted to have you, of course.
So for the few people that might possibly not know who you are, I'm sure they do, but why don't you just give us a quick background of you and who you are so our listeners know who they're hearing?
Of course. Well, I am Chantelle Padden, and I am from a little town called Belmullet in the west of Ireland in County Mayo. And I have been singing Mayo, like the sauce. And it's literally, I grew up singing. I started gigging with my granddad when I was about 7. So I kind of built, I suppose, a bit of a name for myself in the Irish country scene when I was younger. I had released little self-titled albums, which were played on like local radio stations such as Midwest. And so a lot of people kind of got to know me from a really young age and the style that I grew up and started off singing. But I guess I have branched out over the years and I've tried to find who I am as an artist, and hopefully I've done that. Hopefully I'm getting there, getting close to it anyway. I did dip and dab in a lot of styles and, hit a few obstacles along the way. But I've gotten this far now and I'm just trying to keep grafting and keeping on trying to build my name and profile. But
That's all you can do is just keep one foot in front of the other and keep going, isn't it?
That's it. Keep grafting and hope for the best. Music is very much a gamble, but I mean, if you don't take risks in this game, then what are you going to do? You're not going to help yourself if you don't. So
exactly. You're sitting on the couch all day expecting stuff to happen. It's never going to happen, kind of thing. So
that's it. And do you know what? It is tough because I know so many artists and stuff that really try so hard to get their name out there and they work really hard at their craft, but sometimes it takes a bit of luck as well and being in the right place at the right time. And unfortunately, coming from a little town in the middle of nowhere, opportunities don't come around too often. So it has been a long, tough journey, but I did what I had to do, such as moving over to the UK and stuff, to try and, I suppose, work on the genre that I felt I fit best. So as I said, I had grown up doing the Irish country, but I would be more commercial country now, which would, to a lot of listeners, they would probably think, oh, it's quite poppy or a bit rocky. But I try and incorporate different kind of veins into the country style that I do. And hopefully, target a wide audience of different variety of age groups. So, yeah.
It definitely sets you aside, doesn't it?
Well, hopefully.
I was just saying, I listened to your album there last week and there's two particular songs. Absolutely. It's really good, by the way. Actually, I think I listened to it twice or 3 times. Some of that, but it's very good. Really nice production, really nice sound. And your vocals obviously amazing.
Thank you.
But the two songs that really got me was Something Bad. I think it's Something Bad. It's like there is Joan Jett vibe off it. I think it's like rocking kind of.
Is it Laura Ashton you did that one with?
Yeah, my good friend Laura, who is with Legacy Records as well in the UK. So our manager, we both have the same manager. So we love like jumping on tracks together, and she's fantastic in her own right as well. She's another country girl who is from Birmingham. And we got together and done a duet on that song. It's originally by Miranda Lambert and Carrie Underwood. So, we tried our best, and, it was our take on it, and we just tried to do the song justice because, let's face it, like it's very hard to try
and fill, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hard to try and put it up to Miranda and Carrie. Like, so we tried to bring our own little twist to it, and just I suppose there's a lot of people, even my age group, that probably wouldn't have heard that song before. So we're trying to introduce this vibe to a new kind of generation, I suppose.
You did another Carrie Underwood as well. Choctaw County Affair.
Choctaw County Affair.
Yeah,
that's a very good one.
That was on. I think that was the first album I released at Legacy. I love it. I think it's kind of, even though they're covers, and I'm really excited about doing the voice because hopefully it will build my platform. So I'll feel comfortable releasing all my originals that I have. I'm still a bit like, I don't want to put them out there just yet because I want to try and build my name a bit more. But so what I've been doing is trying to influence, or I suppose introduce, I should say, this kind of vibe of country into Ireland, and to the lots of country fans that are in Ireland,
songs, aren't you? Because like on the most recent album with like I Hope, obviously that's not necessarily a country song. That's quite a sort of poppy sort of vibe to it, and you've kind of put that country twang onto it, which I think works amazingly.
Oh, thank you very much. I love I Hope, and I think that's actually a lot of people kind of probably question, am I country, or but that's just the way the new country vibe sounds. Like Gabby Barrett, she was like pure country girl when she did American Idol, and that was one of the first songs that she released after the competition. So like I just love her, and I love all of like the new up and coming artists, like the likes of herself and Nikki Guyton, and there's so many like that I just adore, and I'd love to be able to do what they do.
Yeah, and the thing with country as well nowadays is it's changing so much all the time. There's like there's no one specific country sound. There's like Irish country and there's American country, but then there's like Nashville country, and that's more like hip hop beats and trap beats and all this kind of stuff nowadays as well. So it's completely so variant, and it's just there's so much going on. So
and try not to be in one box of that either, because then
exactly. I'm the same.
Restrict yourself.
Do whatever.
That's it. Yeah.
And I like the way you have a lot of electric guitar in your songs as well. I love. Obviously, you see a few guitars behind me, and I try to do a lot of kind of very guitar driven music. So I love especially the distorted kind of ballsy kind of electric guitar in some of your songs is really, really good. That just catches me straight away.
I love that kind of that vibe. I think it's took me a while to feel comfortable. Like I knew that it was the style and the specific vein of country that I would have a better chance in making a career in, because my age and I suppose the little kind of traits and techniques I use vocally all work for that particular sound, where you could do like Carrie Underwood, for example. I absolutely adore her. Like she is phenomenal. And Miranda Lambert, like, and they can take something on like, a slow ballad, and then she could turn around. I think Carrie actually did take me down to a paradise city where the grass is green. And I was like, okay, so she can go from something like, I told you so, and then go into something like really rocky. I was like, love that. And I think that's actually from one of my favorite Irish artists who wasn't country, but Sinead O'Connor had the same kind of element of surprise with her albums. So like she could do something like Nothing Compares to You by Prince, but then flip it and do something like Oh Roche the Vahawalia. And I'm kind of like, right, okay, that's surprising. Like, but she's smart in the sense where, okay, so not everyone will probably like the O Roche the Vahawalia vibe, but they'd love the Nothing Compares to You. So she's automatically targeting an audience where they might not like a certain specific genre that she might cover or take on, but they know that they're going to hear another song that they love her doing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So when they go to her concert, they know they're getting like a little bit of a mixture, and like,
it opens their eyes to other genres as well, doesn't it? It means that, you're showing them something different that they might not necessarily go and listen to.
Definitely. I hope like that's what I'm trying to do with bringing to The Voice UK. Like with my audition, I did take a big risk on the song choice, and obviously there was loads of other auditions before getting to this stage. So like thousands.
I think that's what people don't realise is the auditions beforehand.
That's true, yeah.
Obviously, as you know, I've been there myself as well. And it's
Of
you
course,
don't understand how many you have to go through before you actually get in front of the judges. I think people think you just turn up one day and you walk in on the stage and you're there. And it's so much more before that. So what was that journey? Tell us what your journey was like into that.
Well, I'll be completely honest with you. It came about the very first stage of it was like back in April. So COVID we hadn't seen the full like extreme like effects that COVID was going to do to the music scene at that stage. And like even myself, I fully didn't realize how bad things were going to get, because
we were all a bit naive, weren't we? Thinking, we'll stay in for a couple of weeks and that'll be nice, bake some breads and
definitely. And I just thought, music and everything, hopefully now they'll come up with a cure for it and it'll help get things back to normal. And obviously it didn't go that way. So I was hesitant when I went for The Voice at the start, because I thought, well, I'm country, and a talent scout had heard me online, and I just got a message. It was just a general message, probably hundreds of others got, saying, oh, there's auditions for The Voice UK coming up. Would you be interested in auditioning? And I was like, oh God, I don't know, because you never see a lot of country on these shows ever.
No.
And you definitely don't ever see anyone from where I'm from on them. So I was kind of like, how is this going to pan out? And then I was like,
it's like The Voice USA had, was it Ray Lynn a couple of years ago? And look what she's come from it. And she's sort of like, I think one of the most successful they've ever had on the show.
Yeah,
so definitely is a space for it.
Well, that's it. I think in America, country is probably one of their main genres. So you always see amazing country artists on the American Voice. So I was thinking, okay, right, will I be in country? Will I have the same impact on going on the show? Like, will people be into it? And it was literally, there was a lot going through my head, because I thought, not everyone's going to like me. That's life anyway. But I know, this style of country is it's kind of the American version of like the country that we'd be used to hearing in the UK and Ireland. So I was like, oh God, a lot of people would think it's pop. So then I was very hesitant, but then I said, right, I'm going to submit a video anyway and hope for the best. And lo and behold, I got a call back, and a lot of the auditions were done over Zoom. So literally it was pure raw like this, no microphone, nothing to make you sound any what better, no effect, no nothing. It was, you sang raw,
I wouldn't have made it nowadays then.
Don't be silly. But honestly, it was, I suppose it's kind of, thankfully, you watch a lot of stuff on TikTok now, and usually the raw videos do really well anyway. So I was like, okay, well, sure, they're going to hear me singing anyway. And if they hear potential, good and well. Now, it was very nerve-wracking, because it was a Zoom call like this. And it's kind of like, there was loads of people in the call, obviously like the team and stuff that go through all these stages with different people. And I was like, okay, this is very, very daunting. This is very, very scary. And literally, I felt like necking a half bottle of Jameson before every audition, because I was so nervous. But,
did they give you feedback there and then, or were you having to sit and wait for feedback from them? Was it just like you sing and it's like, thanks, bye?
It was very much like, they were so lovely now, to be fair. They were very like, take your time, you're fine. And they made you like feel more relaxed. I have to say the team were very, very good to me. And like during that process, because I wouldn't see a lot of the ones that would have done the audition process then. It's like different people that were in studio then. So a lot of people I seen on screen, I didn't meet after that in person. So I haven't yet anyway. So I'm literally like, oh, okay. But it's crazy, because I just look back on it all now and I'm like, how did they hear potential over a Zoom call? Because I had no clue what they were hearing on the other end. And a lot of feedback was, are you country? And I was kind of like, yeah. And they were like,
to answer.
they actually said something really interesting to me. They said, you're bigger than country. Whereas that kind of hit home at the same time, because I thought, well, I don't know, there's a lot of big songs in country. It's just we don't sometimes hear a lot of, the style to like, where you'd sit down and listen to like a big power ballad or whatever. Country is basically, it's true what they say. It's 3 chords and the truth. And
That's
it's basically, it's about the storytelling ability. But then I suppose the influences I had growing up would have been R&B and rock. So I tried to incorporate that into it to show that you don't necessarily have to be a country fan to like what I do. That's what I want to do. I would almost like to try and convert people. And that's what I tried to do during the audition process. I said, look, I was like, country can be mainstream. You've got the likes of Dan and Shay duetting on Justin Bieber, which is probably one of the most streamed songs in the last how many years, 10,000 hours. Like, and then you've got Pink, who duetted with Keith Urban and Chris Stapleton. And I was like, you know, they're only getting the opportunity to become more mainstream because they have been respected. And, you know, these pop artists are genuinely, I should say, these pop artists are genuinely a fan of what they do and they're trying to help them. So, like literally, I was just trying to prove a point, but, you know, show that, you know, hopefully that I was good enough to deserve to get to the blinds, because there was like 7 stages of auditions. So
7. Wow.
after every audition, no joke, I'd like leave the room or whatever room I was in doing the Zoom call, and I'd be like, oh, that went shit. I have messed up now. I'm not getting through. And I think it's like, even though my journey began, like, I'll try my best, and, you know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But then as it went on and the process got more serious and more like, you know, I don't know, it was meaning more to get through each time, because I wasn't used to that. Like, you know, I'd often been in competitions where, you know, I'd never get anywhere. I've the worst luck with competitions ever. I've never won anything in my life, ever. I think the only thing I've ever won was like €3 on a scratch card. That's about it. But,
I had a talent show one time where I lost to a girl hula hooping. So, you know, that happens.
Oh, God. Oh,
but there's plenty of singers do that, don't they? And then they just don't win anything. I remember reading a story about Elvis Presley once, and he entered an Elvis Presley sound-alike competition, and he came second. And I thought that was brilliant. And I just thought, you know what? If that shows that coming second isn't too bad sometimes.
Well, that's
the thing with these competitions as well, isn't it? The second people coming in second generally go on to do better than the people that actually win it. So maybe you're better off coming second.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? I have to say, I had no TV experience until I'd done Glortira in 2018, which is an Irish country show in Ireland for anyone that wouldn't be familiar with it.
Can you tell Copper the story about your eyelashes on Glortira? Because I remember this from you.
Oh, Lord.
I love this, and I think it's so sweet.
Well, do you know what? Oh, God. So I do wear these fake yolks here. And I would be like, because I just feel my eyes look more open. Like when you're on camera, you know yourself, like any girls that wear lashes, we just feel our makeup is complete.
Copper's got them on now, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure. And I was literally... I was backstage and they were getting us all dolled up, and there was makeup artists and hairdressers and everything there to like get us all pretty looking. And I literally got to the stage where the makeup was done. They'd done a lovely job, and then it came to the stage where the lashes had to go on. I was like, oh, brilliant. Yeah, I love those ones. They're nice and fluffy. That's fine. Next thing, she put the lashes on. And it wasn't her. It wasn't the girl that done the makeup. It was the glue. So I started having an allergic reaction to the glue. And the next thing, it was like, right, 10 seconds to showtime. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, my eye. I looked like I was an emotional wreck. And I remember Johnny came over to me, Johnny Brady, and he was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, my eye is leaking. Look at this. I can't do anything about this. And it was gone all red. There was makeup mist. And I was like, I have to go on TV now. My first time ever. And look at the state of me.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, and they were just like, well, this one is raving. Like, because no one could see it. But you know, when you can notice it yourself. And he was like, oh my God, makeup meltdown now. And I was like, I just hope that the song goes well. And that they did. I was like, basically to the cameraman, stick to this side, because this side is like the eye is watering and it's, you know, it came over.
You take your own glue to the voice now. You'll have to make sure you've got your own.
Well, I tell you what, I've been so lucky. I had my own makeup artist for The Voice because of COVID reasons. They had makeup artists and hairdressers on standby, like the best in the biz. They were unreal, so great, like amazing advice. Like Craig Chapman was the head of the hair department, who does like all the celebs for lots of different TV shows. And but I brought my own girl with me who done my makeup. Roisin Byrne is her name. I will be popping a post up on my page with her details on it to thank her. But yeah, she done my makeup and she's done a fantastic job. Like she's so talented at what she does, but I had no worries of anything, like any makeup meltdowns or anything, because she has done my makeup like so many times before. So she knows what like works, what doesn't work. And I was so happy with the look she'd done on me. And we went for like, it was like glam, but nice and not over the top, because it was like just lovely golden kind of like nude colours on the eyes and everything. And she just made a phenomenal job. And it was amazing, because all I had to do really was just wake up, put on me coffee, and then like start warming up. And then I was like doing my vocal warm-ups, and she'd be painting my face and like everything. And it just takes so much stress off you. And then like when I went in there then, and I just wore my hair down for my audition, which you'll be able to see. And so I just straightened it myself. But then of course the hair and styling team were like, it was kind of, everything was boxed off. So we were all inside like these yellow boxes and stuff. Like there was loads of like dressing tables and like makeup rooms and stuff. So we were able to go in and have a look in the mirror and like top up any like powder or whatever we needed. So they'd like advise us, if you have a stray hair or whatever. They were so good. Like, and I had the best crack ever with Craig, because he was just so like such like up my street, like got my banter, the whole lot. And usually like I was so worried because no one would understand me, because I do talk so fast. And like, when you're like talking to someone that you feel like you get on really well with, and you're just, I don't know, I felt very
quite excitable with it as well.
Yeah, like we were just having the crack. Like, I mean, some of the things we were on about, like you couldn't air that. Like it was literally like the best crack ever. And like even the styling team, like it's Gail Rinkoff is the head lady that was part of the styling team, and she has styled, I nearly broke down crying when we had a conversation. She has styled Carrie Underwood.
Wow.
She has styled the likes of Nadine Coyle, like loads of like massive names, like in England and America and all over. Like she's probably one of the go-to ladies of like the fashion and styling world, like when it comes to TV land. So
and now she can say that she's done Chantelle Padden. It's great.
Oh God. Do you know what? It was so surreal, because these people were so humble to work with, and they genuinely treated us like, like we hear horror stories all the time about, people's experiences, but I can genuinely hand on heart say the team like couldn't do enough for me. They were feeding me cake. I was like, I'm not going to fit into my dress if you keep feeding me. Like they were, so good. And considering like the blind stages, there's a lot more numbers involved. And then obviously whoever gets through at the blinds, then it's whittled down, like, because it'll be like the final 10 on each coach's team and things like that. Yeah. So it's like, no pressure. But they just made everyone feel really relaxed and chilled. And I remember for like the whole process, like literally there was so many people and they'd memorize everyone's name, which is a big thing for me because I'm brutal with names. I'll never forget a face, but and there was so many there, like, so.
Obviously, it's a dream for loads of people to sort of go on there. And I mean, what was it about The Voice over other competitions that you thought, well, this will be with me? Was it the judges? Was it the format? What was it that sort of grabbed you and thought, this is for me?
Well, I've always worked so hard to try and get out there in like a big way, like, get the opportunity to perform on a massive stage. Mm-hmm. So then I thought when kind of like thinking about the whole scenario of what could happen and then obviously what couldn't happen, I was kind of like, well, I thought to myself, it's an opportunity to sing in front of 4 amazing, successful coaches and millions and millions of people at home. So it's exposure and an experience money can't buy. Yeah. So I was like, if I'm lucky enough to make it to the televised stages, then, I'll be happy with that, because The Voice is very different to a lot of talent shows where, you get a lot of joke acts on a lot of talent shows. Whereas The Voice, to be fair, the standard, there's no joke acts. Like everyone can sing that goes on it. I've yet to watch anyone that I've thought, nearly everyone that has walked on the stage, I've been like, how did I get here? Do you know?
Yeah,
And
so
like,
there's
there
no
was
people
even
that
one
they say, oh, you're
particular
great, you're great, you're great. And then they get up and they can't sing a note and everyone's laughing at them. There's none of that, is there?
See,
That's
yeah,
great.
like, and I think that's why I like The Voice. I like that the fact that obviously the coaches have their backs turned to you, which is the most daunting and
You like
scariest
that
thing I've
bit
ever done in my life.
I don't know how that would feel, because I think it would be scary knowing you've got people like, you know, Sir Tom Jones sitting there, but you know he's the other side of a chair, and you're just like,
yeah.
I think I would want them to turn, but I also wouldn't, because I think they'd turn and I'd just be, I don't know. Oh, how does that feel?
Well,
what's that like when you walk out there and just see 4 chairs?
Well, I was just kind of like, I just remember seeing like the big 4 chairs, and I was just kind of like, oh God, I can't run now. I have to do it now. And I just, before we go on, like, there is like, obviously cameras everywhere. And like, I actually had to do like a little, not an interview, but they were asking me questions whilst the camera was on. And in my head, I was like, I have no heat on what you're asking me right now. I'm having like literally like a meltdown. My heart's about to jump out my mouth. And they were asking me questions, and I was just literally looking around me. I'm dreading watching it back, because
I was going to say, you'll watch it back and think, I don't remember saying that.
Yeah.
All I could feel was the thump, thump, thump. I was like, oh no, I'm going to get sick. But it was just like, because of the simple reason, like, it's kind of the whole time on stage, I just remember walking out blank. I just remember seeing the chairs, and obviously I sang, but yeah, the rest is a blur. The rest
Probably
is
over
going to be
before you
very,
knew
very, well, I tell you what, it's going to be crazy watching it back, because I don't remember a lot of things. Like, I don't remember how I sang the certain notes in the song, things like that. There's a million things that are going through my head. I did take a risk, but I just hope that the people watching at home like what they heard, because the aim is to just, I suppose, I wanted a chance and an opportunity to be heard by, you know, a big audience, and in front of, you know, like, important people that could actually help get my career to the next level. You know, because all throughout the audition process, there was an exec from the record label, which is Universal, which is the prize. If you win The Voice, you win a record deal with Universal. So there's always been an exec watching our journey throughout our whole time on the show.
No pressure.
So, yeah, like, you're literally, like, it was kind of like, whoa, like, that's the dream. People think like, okay, you get a record deal, you're made. That's not necessarily it. I mean, I remember watching Garth Brooks' documentary on Netflix, and it was like, you know, that was the battle. But then when you get signed, that's when the war begins, because that's when you have to make a dent, and you have to make it quick, because, you know, your deal only is offered for however long that they offer it to you for. So if you don't make a big splash in that pond, then, you know, you're just they're going to find something else.
But I think it's also just as hard when you're doing it. So I don't know if you've seen the Taylor Swift documentary on Netflix as well.
I have loved it.
Because, you know, you just think, you know, you see her and you think what a successful, positive, brilliant role model she is for singers and for females as well. But the way she kind of describes it is, you know, you work all your life to get where you need to be. You get where you need to be, and then it's like, what next? What, you know, what's the expectation? What did she want? What's the end goal? And I think that I found it just so eye-opening into the, you know, I've been around music for 20 years, and I watched that and I was just like, that just all makes sense. It kind of just fitted so many different people that I know and that I've worked with and stuff, that it's just, you don't think of that side of things. You just think, oh, you're just going to go and make it as a singer.
Well, that's so true. Like, they've often asked me, what is my goal? And now if you asked 7-year-old Chantelle Padden, what's your dream? My dream back then would have been, I want to be gigging like my granddad. I want to gig. I want to sing in front of people. That was my dream. Then as I hit my teenage years, I want to be the next big female vocalist in Ireland. That was my dream. And now I'm 24. My dream is, if I ever get the chance to sing on the Grand Ole Opry stage, I will die happy. That is my dream.
That would be incredible. That would be
my
so
dream.
incredible.
That is my dream,
My dream when I was 7 is I wanted to be a fire engine. So I'm, you know smaller.
A fire engine. Not even a fireman, like a fire engine.
Fire engine, yeah.
But a lot of people don't, like, it's so true. Like, a lot of people are like, you couldn't have always wanted to be a singer. Like, kids want to be a ballerina or, you know, this or that. And I was like, no, it has always been singing. I used to, like, literally the first song I ever learned was My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion.
Wow.
And then the second song I learned was John Denver, Country Roads. So you can see where I've always been kind of, I suppose, been a mix-up of these different styles, like the R&B, like I love big belty voices like Tina Turner, Whitney Houston. I loved big voices, but I'd also love the power behind, you know, a song Dolly Parton would do. You know, sometimes a whisper can be just as powerful as a big belting note. So I loved the contrast between all the different singers I listened to. And I guess, you know, it's easy saying, okay, I come from the middle of nowhere and, you know, this might never happen for me. But you look at the likes of Carrie Underwood, who went on American Idol. Typical, you know, country girl story, came from the middle of nowhere, grew up on a farm. You know, there was no opportunities. But look at her now.
Yeah.
So I think that's my mindset is exactly. And my mindset is, look, if I don't give it a try and give it my best shot, then, you know, then you're just a failure. But as someone that keeps trying, they'll never fail.
Do you think that it's been difficult as well? Because this is something I'm quite passionate about, and we've spoke to some other people for future episodes that have said this. It's so much harder in music for a female than a male, particularly in country music. Would you agree with that? And how do you think those barriers could be broken down?
Definitely. I think from what I've experienced, it is very difficult. But I think like being a girl country singer, I think it's kind of, a lot of it is who you know, not what you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have a certain pull in the industry, which is fantastic for them, you know, for anyone that knows anyone in the scene that's helping them out. The only person that I could honestly say, when I was nothing, like I wasn't even gigging that much in pubs around the time when Johnny Brady was playing down my neck of the woods. And he heard me singing with my best friend, Sean Fahey, who I gigged with for years when my granddad retired. And Johnny heard me for the first time and he was like, what the? He was like,
where have you been?
No, he was just, he made me feel like, you know, as in, oh God, you know, he thinks that I could be a star or whatever, you know? And I was kind of like, and me here, like, you know, I'd be singing in a pub or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with it because, you know, it got me to, you know, a great, like, stage in my life where I was getting to perform in front of people and people liked what they heard. But, you know, like you said, you'll always want more and you'll always want to try and get to the next level. And that's where I was. I just felt like, nah, it's not going to happen for me. And then Johnny came along and gave me the opportunity of doing a big, you know, Irish country TV show, which at the time I did think that I was pursuing a career in the Irish country scene because obviously that's the most popular country in Ireland and I wanted to be a country singer. So I just, you know, tried my luck.
A few jives out and
that's it. And I was kind of like, yeah, this is what I want to do. But then, you know, I still have like great like time and I'm always in contact with the judges that were on Glortira, like two of them, but gosh, we'd be messaging nearly every week. I get on really well with them. And to be fair, like looking back on every bit of feedback I ever got, they were so right. Like I had veins of R&B going through me. I had veins of rock. So basically what they were telling me in a backhanded compliment kind of way, it was like, you sure this is where you need to be? Which, to be fair, it's after doing Glortira, I realised, okay, maybe I'm not in the right lane. Maybe I should go to England and, you know, I'll just take some time out from music. And I gave up music after Glortira. I was hanging up the microphone to move to the UK just to try and figure out, you know, what I was going to do, like come up with a game plan and just...
Did at the time, did you think that because Glortira didn't work out, did you think, oh, this is it for me? Was there a lot of sort of pressure on yourself for that?
Well, it was more so kind of like Glortira was a competition that was based on votes. And of course, no one knew me. Yeah. No one had a clue who I was. So, you know what? The people that voted for me were obviously from the small area that I'm from because no one else would have known me. Whereas a lot of the other artists that were on that year with me, like the likes of Conor O'Donnell, who I love, he's such a sound lad, and like Gary Fitzpatrick, and there was loads of them that were used to going up on stage and performing with bands and stuff. And, you know, the big bands knew them and they had that whole experience of getting up and performing. Like they could go to a concert or a dance, they'd be invited up to sing. I didn't have that because the nearest venue to me that would hold like country music nights or the dance scene, you know, they bring the bands, would be the MacWilliam in Claremorris, which is an hour and like 35 away from where I'm from.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a case that I could just get up, go, get to meet all these bands and ask them would they bring me up for a song or whatever.
Still don't regret doing
no one knew me.
Doing it.
No, definitely not. I think I learned so much. I learned like about cameras and, you know, like little things that you wouldn't have had a clue about. So even like when it comes to the voice and stuff, because I've done Glortira, like when the cameras are on and stuff, you know which camera is on. Because on Glortira, they taught me, okay, this one will light up such a colour, this one will light up such a colour. Then you'll know if it's on. So just little things that you pick up and you actually use without realising. And yeah, definitely, I think Glortira was probably the best thing I ever done because I think I'd still, to this day, be trying to break into an industry that I don't really fit in. Like the Irish country, I'm just not that Irish country, even though I grew up singing it. And I love so many Irish country songs, like literally. I just felt like it's the best thing. It made me realize that, okay, I am country, but I'm just a different kind of
and there's nothing wrong with that at all. No. It's just not necessarily for that competition. But just before we finish up with the Glortira, obviously after we're speaking to you, we're speaking to Keelan Brown, who is he's the youngest contestant ever on Glortira.
I know. Me and my mom love him.
He's such a sweetie. But what advice would you give him with his journey?
I have actually been so impressed with Keelan because it takes guts to take on the type of country songs that he is. You know, like really, they're well known and people love them and people love the originals and stuff. I love that he's taken the risk of bringing the more Americana flavour to the show. I think if I could go back,
Robert Mazzell, could he, as his mentor?
Yes, literally. And if there's one thing that I could go back and redo, I wouldn't have played my song choices as safe. I wish I took a bit more risk. But of course, I was trying to fit in. So you're going to do what you hope people at home will like. But no, I'm really, I love watching the show. I always watch it every year. And to be fair, even though I came like fourth, I think I came fourth. Yeah, I think I did. Like they used my picture for promoting the show and stuff like on their page, like, you know, when they were announcing auditions and stuff. So I was kind of like, I mean, I came fourth, like, but I suppose what they're trying to say is, you know, they believed in what I was doing, even though like whatever way the show panned out, like they gave me an opportunity to showcase, you know, my voice to an audience. And, you know, people knew my name after Glortira, you know, whereas no one had a clue who I was. So after that show, like, you know, a lot of people knew of me or, you know, they had heard me at least. And I was like, you can't ask for anything else. You know, that's just amazing because it's helping you get where you want to be. So for Keelan, I would just say keep doing what you're doing because he's amazing at it. And you know, it's just look online. Look how popular he is with his videos and everything. I think
he's got over 1 million views on one of his songs at the moment. It's just insane. Wow. It really is.
It is crazy, like, but it's amazing for him because he's so young, and I think it'll really help them all, everyone that's on the show. I know there's a Mayo man on the show as well.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like, I get so excited when I see it, not being biased, but I get so excited when I see, like, you know, people from Mayo and stuff, because I feel like sometimes we're, like, I don't know, you just, like I said, even the likes of me going on Glortira, you don't really see a lot of, like, Mayo people, or, I don't know, it's just crazy. But, the lineup, like, even with the mentors on this year, I've really enjoyed watching all them as well. I think that it's a very good mixture, and the contestants are really impressing me. Like, it's tough when you're in a competition environment, believe me. It's no matter how much experience you have or how often you've sang on a stage, when you're in an environment where you know you're being judged, there's so much more added pressure, and it is really, really tough because you're overthinking, your mind and your heart is racing at like 100 miles an hour. So it's like, I respect anyone that has the courage to go up and just give it a go. And because sometimes, like, even I get really nervous sometimes, like, it's normal. And I just try and I try and visualize like, okay, how do I want to feel after this performance? Do I want to be like, oh Jesus, I didn't hit that note, or that was terrible? Or do I want to be like, okay, I'm happy with that. That's fine. Okay, right, I can move on. But yeah, I always kind of watching those shows, I always think back to how I felt before I go on the stage. And it's really tough, but you know, they're all really natural looking on the stage. Like they're all really doing themselves proud. So I'm delighted that the show is really helping new and aspiring artists out. Yeah,
definitely. And I think one of my favorite songs of yours that you've done is actually a duet with somebody who's got his own experience on the reality shows, and that's Mercy with Christopher King, who's just absolutely a darling. So obviously he did Ireland's Got Talent, wasn't it?
Yes, he did indeed. I love Chris. He was such a lovely lad to work with. And I remember I was actually on Glortira when I first seen that audition. And me and Katrina and Joe, who were two judges, I was going to say coaches, who were two judges on Glortira, we were all in the makeup room and we were like, oh, he is gorgeous and his voice is amazing. And
his reaction when he got that golden buzzer, it was just
he literally melts my heart. Like he was, I remember when he came into the studio to do the song, and it was just hilarious because he got so shy around me and everything, and I was like, "There's no reason I should be shy around you. There's no reason for you to be shy
I
around
remember
me."
hearing a story actually that when I think it was you that approached him about doing the song, and he was so emotional that you had wanted to do the song with him, and he'd apparently been saying to people, is it really me she wants to do? Is it me? Like, really? Me? Why me? And I just thought that was so sweet for him to be so humble and so, you know, he's just nothing big-headed about him at all. He's just
I tell you what, and it's the minute I heard his voice, I was like, oh God, you would literally, I just heard like he was my vibe. He was up my street with the kind of songs he was singing. And I was like, that is a vocal that I would love to duet with. And I remember I reached out to him, and it was, I'd say it was going on a good few months after Ireland's Got Talent had like finished up and stuff. And I was just like, what is this lad doing? Like, you know, I'd love to like get him into a studio and do a song with him. And I knew he had been working on his own bits and stuff. But obviously, like being on the TV show and stuff, he was probably hectic with like probably songwriting and things like that. So I was like, maybe he'll be too busy. He might not want to, you know, come over and do something. But I didn't realize he was actually based in the UK. Yeah. So we arranged to get together and like, you know, have a day where we'd like pick a song and like just see what we could do with it. But oh God, like literally from the minute he walked in, he was just so grateful. And like, because obviously like to get studio time, it can be very expensive for a starter. But like, you know, it's great how he came in, and like even my own manager was like, I love his voice. Yeah, I really, really like this duet. And it was actually Jeremy from Legacy who helped us pick the song, because we're both really like big Brett Young fans. So we were like, yeah, I like this song. And it had never been really done as a duet before, not that I knew of. So I was like, okay, we'll just see what we can do. But I had to laugh because when he sent like a snippet to his family and stuff, he was messaging me, and then he was like, all my family think you sound like Celine Dion. And I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? I was like, oh my God, I love your family. But that is just so far from the truth. I wish like, but oh God, he was just so genuine. And like he'd ask for advice on how to approach different parts of like recording the song, or, you know, what do you think should I do with this part? And we really worked well. And I think that's what makes a good duet. If, you know, you're working
You've got
well.
plenty of experience with duets now. I feel like there's nobody you haven't duetted with almost. We're waiting for a Copper Kelly one.
I tell you, I will have to. I love a good duet. And it's crazy, like, because I've done a lot of duets with girls as well. And one of the main questions I'm always asked is, you know, would you not be, you know, feeling like a bit threatened, like singing with another girl, or would there be any competition? And I'm kind of like, no. You see, with me, I think, well, the proof is in the pudding. Like, how many duets have I done with girls? But it's literally, I think if you respect that someone has talent and that, you know, you're a fan of their ability, then, you know, some people would be like, oh, I'm not going to do it. And I've had girls in the past that didn't really feel like doing a duet, that were just kind of like, it wasn't even them, it was just their management that wouldn't really feel comfortable doing a duet at that time. So I was kind of like, okay, well, like we can do, it doesn't necessarily have to be this big belter of a song. Like, I love like just collaborating with other artists and stuff. And I'd hate for anyone to feel like, I don't know, that there'd be competition or whatever.
Yeah.
I love working on songs like me and Laura. Like we literally, and Leanne McCree was an amazing R&B artist that I duetted with as well. Like Leanne McCree, she's as good as Ariana Grande for me, to be completely honest. Like her vocal ability, I've heard her raw. Like anyone can sound good in the studio, but I've heard that girl raw. And the same with Laura, like, these girls can sing live. So I was like, what could we do in a studio? So, I think there's a certain respect like that I gain from these female artists that are like, you're not like that. You actually appreciate talent, which I do. And I think that's a major thing for you to get on in your career. Like, some people would say Miranda Lambert and Carrie Underwood were, the two biggest competitors because it was always them fighting for the number one spot. But you put those two women on a track, like something bad. And it's like, they're each to their own, like they're both phenomenal at what they do. So I was kind of like, I don't see the problem, but yeah, that's me rambling on again. No, I do.
I was just going to embarrass you there, actually. I was going to embarrass you and say
God,
what you told me about, because obviously you duetted with Derek Ryan, who
I did
follow up for a long time. And you said you didn't know the song before he sent it you. And I think, how do you not know?
I know.
We've got Tonight.
Oh, stop. I felt really embarrassed then because when I did learn it, I was like, this song is stuck in my head. Love it. And it was gas, like because of like COVID and everything, we couldn't just like go up to a studio or do it. So I literally recorded it in my bedroom and it was like literally into these headphones and I was like, yeah, right, this could like come out like really, really bad, like quality wise on my part or whatever. So I was like, but you know what, it's raw. So hopefully people will appreciate that. We're trying to do something and do justice to the song.
You definitely pushed him with his vocals as well to keep up with you. I think you did amazing on it. It was pretty good.
God, I don't know. It was his choice, like, so I think it was exciting to do something different. But also I didn't realize how popular the song was. Until like started seeing the feedback after it was like put up online, and I was like, wow. And it was so like it was sad that we couldn't do it like live on stage because of obviously all the stages and everything were closed down.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of time for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, hopefully. I think it'd be one of those songs where it's, you could really get the audience interacting with it and singing along and stuff. I think it'd be a great one. But I tell you, that Sheena Easton, she's got some chops. My God, her vocal range is, it's up there. And I was like, right, okay, because I was sitting down and I looked back on the video and I was like, I should have stood singing that. But I was like, yeah, it's up there now anyway. But I think even now, because I'm more familiar with the song, I'd probably try and do it more justice now live. Especially when you have a band and everything, you're vibing off the band, the audience, and it's kind of like that would be it'd be a really good live track. So you never know. Hopefully now, when things get back to normal, myself and Derek Ian might do a duet on it.
I'll be waiting for it now. I'll be waiting.
Lord.
So I think we're going to go to some fan questions that we've had come in because it's been really, really popular. And I'm really sorry if we don't get everyone's sort of questions in. But there's a couple that I definitely wanted to throw at you, if that's all right.
Let's go.
First of all, give a big shout out to two people that I'm sure you know, Leslie and Sarah, who run your fan pages.
Yeah. Hi, Leslie, and hi, Sarah. Thanks so much, girls. They're so cute. They sent me on the link to a fan page they've created. And just things like that really like motivate me. And it's just, it's such a lovely boost. So I'd be lost without girls like them.
But they've actually thrown in a couple of questions. So they want to know who inspires you outside of music? So in your personal life.
Who inspires me in my personal life? Well, it's my personal life, but it is kind of music related too. It'd be my biggest influence ever is my grandfather, because he's the man that taught me a lot about music, and just, he kind of, growing up, he prepared me for what potentially could happen in music. And, he was always my number one influence. But then apart from him, outside of music, this is going to sound crazy, but my whole life revolves around music. So all my major influences are musical, which is crazy. Like, I suppose, like, I look up to so many people, anyone that's ever like, you know, had a bit of faith in me, and everyone that's always tried to encourage me. Like, and I just, even people in my local hometown that have the courage to go on and open up their own business or branch out, take the plunge to move away from home, to go and try and, you know, recreate themselves in whatever way. Like, people that grow up in a place like me. So people that have grown up in a small town.
Yeah.
Or, you know, where there wasn't a lot of opportunities, that have gone out to try and make something
make them themselves, don't they? And
yeah. I think people like that really are a major influence to me. Yeah.
So we've also had Anne Cannon. I'm sure you know Anne.
Yes, I do.
She wanted to say a big hi. Now, you don't have to answer this in a way that might get us into trouble with The Voice. But she wanted to know, before you went onto it, did you have a judge in mind that you wanted to turn and work with?
Well, definitely, yeah. That's I had always kind of thought out, okay, what would happen in each scenario if such a one would turn, or if, you know, I got on another coach's team. I think what was going through my head is who would benefit me the most, that would know what to do with my style. So, to be fair, even the team can vouch for this, but I was probably the worst one to ask this question to, because in my head, each of them I would learn. And I know this is just like, this is kind of, I know everyone wants to know, but this genuinely is the way I felt. I thought to myself, okay, right. So the panel of coaches is will.i.am, Ollie Murs, Sir Tom Jones, and Anne-Marie. And it was Megan Trainor the previous year. But obviously Megan has gone off to have her baby. So I'm not sure whether she has it or not, but I'm not sure. But Anne-Marie obviously replaced her. Yeah. So
I would have put you with Anne-Marie if I was sort of thinking of all of them. I was thinking, who would I put her with? I'd put her with Anne-Marie, I think. But then I'd also think, you'd have such a laugh with Ollie. Just that you couldn't take it too seriously.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going through my head. What was going through my head, I should say, was what would each coach be able to do with me? Because that's their job, to coach us and help showcase us, you know, at our best, you know, during the show and everything. So I was like, okay, well, will.i.am has worked with Miley Cyrus, who was country. And he's worked with so many other artists that have done really well, that, you know, would be mainstream, but their roots are country. And I was kind of thinking, okay. He'd have some idea, I suppose. Yeah. And obviously the American influence as well. You know, he would get my vibe, hopefully. And then I was thinking, Anne-Marie, well, she's so current and she's in the charts all the time. So, God, she would be a great help when, you know, obviously I'm trying to become more mainstream, like bringing country to The Voice and everything. And then I was like, well, Sir Tom Jones has...
I mean, how could you say no to Tom?
Sir Tom Jones, this is the man that has duetted with Dolly Parton, Elvis Presley, like, you name it. Like,
I love his stories when he's just like, I was sat at a piano with Elton John and I did this, and Elvis was in the corner, and it's just like
crazy.
Wow.
Like this, and like, it just shows you, like, that man did not have it handed to him either. Tom Jones is 24 years old. He was my age when he had his first hit. And up until that point, he worked on a building site. Do you know, there was nothing handed to him. He grafted hard. And, do you know, he's a perfect example that, do you know, kind of similar background story, no big major pull to help him get there. He was just sheer luck, being in the right place at the right time. So that was really inspiring for me, because I was like, you would get me on a personal level. And then, of course, Ollie Murs, who's a phenomenal performer. Yeah. Something that I feel I would love to improve on more would be to become more comfortable, like moving about a stage and just being more myself on a stage. So like this, it was very, very difficult, because I was like, each one of you, I would learn so much from. So when it came down to who do you want to turn, or, you know, whose team would you love to be on? I was kind of like, any of them. That is genuinely, if I got on a team, I would just be like so happy. So because I know that, you're on the show. So like if whoever gets through, like people are going to see my blind audition anyway. But the main thing for me is I want to impress everyone at home, because they're the people that get you to the next level. It's people that stream and download your music and, like go to watch you at your shows. So it's, yes, I want to impress the coaches, but at the same time, it's everyone watching at home. Like they're the real people that I need on my side.
So that was the first part in our Chantelle Padden interview. I hope you enjoyed that. Second part is coming very, very shortly. We'll be getting into other topics, and I'll be asking her about her ghost stories and things like this. Good bit of crack. But if you want to keep following us on our social media to keep up to date with announcements on shows and things, please do. Where can they find us, Jo?
So we are on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok at Folkin Around Podcast. And we're also on Twitter at Folkin Around Pod. Brilliant.
And where can people find Chantelle Padden?
So Chantelle has the username at Chantelle Padden across all of her socials. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You'll find her on all of those.
Brilliant. And if you want to follow us, I'm on Copper Kelly Music on Facebook, Copper Kelly IRL on Twitter, and Copper_Kelly on Instagram. And where can they find yourself, Jodie?
So I am Welcome to Jodie Land on Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok. And on Twitter, I am Welcome to Jodie.
Brilliant. And so that's the end of our first episode. Second episode is part 2 of Chantelle Padden, coming very soon. But for now, bye, folkers.
Bye.